What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel, and holy shit, what a PLE for NXT. It was, I'm not even gonna say anything except the fact that holy shit, this was as crazy as last night at Bash in Berlin. If you guys thought Bash in Berlin last night was crazy, this was just as. Some might believe that the ending to some of these matches might have been a bit unorthodox. Some might believe that they're fucking bullshit. But you know what? I'm not gonna complain because this was absolutely incredible from the top of the card to the main event. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to get straight into it with the NXT Tag Team titles between Chase Hughes, Andre Chase, and of course, Ridge Holland defending their tag team titles against Fraser and Axiom in a rematch from, I believe, from the Great American Bash, if I'm not mistaken. And it's weird. It's weird because this was actually Ridge Holland's very first title in WWE. Yes, he did have opportunities on NXT UK. Yes, he did have opportunities in NXT the first time he was a part of the brand. Yes, he had a few tag title opportunities on the main roster when he was a part of the Brawling Brutes, but this was an opportunity that Ridge Holland took, and yeah, he took it. He and Andre Chase became NXT Tag Team Champions, but this matchup was absolutely incredible from bell to bell. This was just incredible. Near fall after near fall, big move after big move, Phoenix splashes, golden ratios, flatliner. This was all over the place, and you would think that Chase U would have retained said tag team titles, but unfortunately, it was all for naught, as we saw Fraser and Axiom Fraser pinned on Andre Chase with the Phoenix Splash to regain the NXT Tag Team titles. But what comes after that, I don't even have the words for it. But at the same time, when you look at it, and when you think about Ridge Holland's past, you can't really say that we were all surprised. Excuse me. But we saw Ridge Holland attack all the members of Chase U, Duke Hudson, Riley Osborne, and of course Andre Chase, hitting on Andre Chase with a sort of like a weird DDT. I don't know what the fuck to call it, but on the announce table, putting him in the hospital. Aside from that, the card was absolutely not the card. The match itself was stupid crazy from bell to bell. This was an instant classic. This is if you're looking for excellent tag team wrestling in WWE, NXT is the place to be. Obviously, yeah, Balor and McDonough, have the world tag titles, and the Bloodline got, have the WWE tag team titles, but with the Judgment Day, they haven't defended the titles even once. Bloodline's defended the titles at least twice at 3 times at best. But NXT is where the best wrestle. When it comes to tag team wrestling, NXT is where the best wrestle. If you know, you know. And this was an easy 5 stars. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. 5 stars, easy. Obviously, yes, Chase U could have retained the titles, but when you really look at it, Ridge and Andre Chase had only teamed up maybe once or twice, so they were still relatively new as a team. And I feel like it's if it was Duke Hudson and Andre Chase, they would have retained said tag team titles easily. And actually, funny enough, since they're a cohesive unit, they could have used the Freebird rule, and Chase Hughes still would have walked out of Denver as tag team champions. But congrats to Axiom and Fraser on becoming two-time tag team champions. Now we move into a match that honestly none of us thought it would ever happen. Wesley and Zachary Wentz, who is now the new the brand new TNA X Division champion after winning the title via Ultimate X this past Friday. Shoutouts to Wentz on that massive victory. This was just as incredible as the NXT tag team title matchup. This was high flying at its best. If these two were in the finals of a tournament to crown a new cruiserweight champion, if there was a tournament final, right, that would determine a new cruiserweight champion, this match would have been it. Zachary Wentz, Wesley, former MSK members, former Rascal members, funny enough. And this was incredible. Meteoras, super kicks. It was crazy. We even also saw Zachary Wentz literally remembered the surgically repaired back of Wesley and applied a Boston Crab onto Wesley. And we even thought as well, the moment Wesley hit a massive move on the outside, we thought it was going to be over. But we saw Trey Miguel stop Wesley from hitting Wentz with the steel chair, which allowed Zachary Wentz to hit Wesley with the UFO cutter to win the grudge match. And I don't know. I think with the fact that the Rascals will be in a triple threat number one contenders match this coming Tuesday, I have a feeling Wesley is probably going to get involved at some point in the matchup, which is possible, but only time will tell. But this is an easy 4-star matchup. This was absolutely incredible. Obviously, yeah, Wesley probably could have won if the referee's back was turned or if he was not knocked out cold or something like that. But let's be real, Zachary Wentz needed that victory. And to be fair, it's a massive W for TNA, because by having Wentz pick up the victory over a guy like Wesley, it gives TNA more confidence to potentially do a collaboration, PLE with NXT or even with the entire WWE. Have the main roster get their own PLEs, NXT gets their own PLEs and whatnot. Like think about this, right? NXT Bound for Glory. WWE buys out the rights, or rather, or I wouldn't say buy out the rights, but does a collaboration with TNA where Bound for Glory becomes a PLE for both companies, for both brands, if you will. That would be interesting. Or even better, WWE Victory Road. Possible, or maybe even NXT Genesis. I mean, the possibilities are out there. Or even NXT Lethal Lockdown. That would be a good one. But again, with this victory, it gives TNA more confidence and maybe just enough to again maybe do a PLE collabing with NXT, and with that's not just having 1 or 2 stars come in. That would be interesting, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, 4 stars, easy. Next up, the NXT Women's North American title between Kalani Jordan and Wendy Chu. This was strange, I will say. This was very strange, to say the very least. Wendy Choo is a bit of a oddball, I guess, if you will, and we thought that there have been multiple times where Wendy Choo was we all thought Wendy Choo was gonna win. There was even a moment where she had the clutch on Kalani Jordan, and right as the arm was gonna go down, nope, I ain't giving up. I ain't done yet. And it took not only a 450, but a one-of-a-kind split leg moonsault that, again, she calls one of a kind, a little homage to Rob Van Dam, the Hall of Famer, to retain the NXT Women's North American title. But after that, we saw Tatum Paxley make her triumphant return to attack Wendy Choo with a Dragon Sleeper, proving that now a new rivalry has begun in the form of both in the form of Wendy Choo versus Tatum Paxley, and perhaps Kalani Jordan might have some new challengers coming in at some point. But this was a bit of an odd one. A part of me kind of wants to give it 3 stars, or sorry, yeah. It kind of, a part of me wants to give it 3 stars because of how the match went. But at the same time, when you look at what Kalani Jordan had done since becoming Women's North American Champion, she's had banger after banger. A little homage to Sheamus. Banger after banger after banger. And I think this was one of them. So I'll be optimistic and I will give it 4 stars. And I feel like if Wendy Choo had have kept the clutch in just a little bit longer, Kalani Jordan would have passed out, and Choo would have walked out as champion. But speaking of the North American title, we move from the women's title to the men's North American title as the ruler Obafemi defended against the Don, Tony D'Angelo. I've said this before over the years, and I'll say it again, especially when it comes to the men's North American title. I'm being real. I've said it before. When it comes to the men's North American title, there is not one match that was not a banger. Not one. This was one. This was indeed one of those matches that was a banger at its finest. And it was an instant classic. I never would have imagined Obafemi kicking out of a sort of like a modified perfect plex, if you will, that he calls forget about it. I never would have imagined he would kick out of that, nor would I have ever imagined Tony D'Angelo kicking out of a pop-up powerbomb that Obafemi has used in the past. But this was this was absolutely incredibly crazy, absolutely insane. I kind of figured that the rest of the D'Angelo family would have gotten involved, but shockingly enough, they didn't. They actually did not get involved. I'm kind of surprised. But obviously, Obafemi did attack both the underboss Channing Sax Lorenzo and the Casorieri, Luca Crucifino. He even had a crowbar. Crucifino even had a crowbar, and Oba took it out of his jacket. And we thought that he was going to use it on Tony D'Angelo, but obviously Stax took it, and well, it was pretty much all downhill from there for the Don, as it took not 1, not 2, but 3 power bombs onto Tony D to retain the North American title. Aside from all the chaos at ringside, this was pretty crazy to say the very least. But I will say, Obafemi is a force to be reckoned with. I've said it before, he is a force to be reckoned with, and I don't know who in the hell will be able to take that North American title off of him. I don't know who. I honestly don't know. If you guys know, let me know in the comments, because this is crazy. But 4 stars, hands down, absolutely insane. At this point, it's kind of hard to say whether or not Tony D'Angelo would have won. It's kind of hard to say, because if he kept using forget about it onto Obafemi. Like if he used like 4 or maybe 5 of them on Femi, maybe he would have had a chance. But I really don't know. It's kind of hard to say. But with that being said, we move into the NXT Women's title as Jada Parker challenged Roxanne Perez. Obviously, Jada Parker won a gauntlet eliminator to win said match, and it was I don't even know what to say, except this was insane. Obviously we knew that Jada Parker had bruised ribs at the hands of Roxanne Perez, and also from the Gauntlet Eliminator. Funny enough, so that came into play very drastically, and we thought that she would have won the title with the move teardrop and something else, so some sort of a hip attack. To win the title, but Roxanne Perez kicked out, and it was just back and forth, crossface, rings of Saturn, abdominal stretch. It was absolutely crazy. But the closing moments, we saw Roxanne Perez hit Jada Parker with Pop Rocks onto a piece of barricade, and then hit Pop Rocks again in the ring for Roxanne to retain the NXT Women's title. But you would think that would have been over. Nope, it wasn't, because we saw the lights go out, we heard music come in, and out came Giulia. I'm gonna be honest, I've heard so much about Giulia, and I can tell. I can honestly say from the videos that I had seen on social media, she is going to be a force to be reckoned with in NXT, and maybe Giulia will be the one to take the title off of Roxanne Perez, and maybe she could very well end up being just as much of a dominant champion as Asuka was when she was the NXT Women's Champion. Think about that, over 500 days as champion. I don't think anybody will be able to break that reign. Not even Roxanne Perez will be able to break it. So, maybe she could. She might not. Who knows? But Giulia, shout outs to her. Welcome to NXT. Welcome to WWE. It's gonna be fun to watch her in action. Can't wait. I kind of figured that Giulia would have attacked Roxanne Perez, but it is what it is. But can't wait. Overall, though, the match itself was absolutely crazy. 5 stars. You really can't go wrong with Roxanne Perez putting on an instant classic. You really can't. And the fact that Jada Parker was able to go the distance against Roxanne Perez proves that she is ready to be a champion, not just in NXT, but in WWE altogether. And obviously tonight was not her night, but we will have to wait for her next opportunity. But only time will tell. But congrats to Roxanne Perez, and congrats to Giulia on finally debuting in NXT. Last time we saw her in NXT obviously was at Stand and Deliver back in April in Philadelphia. Now, can't wait. Cannot wait. But we now move into the main event for the NXT title. You want to talk about Zachary Wentz picking up momentum after tonight? Let's be real. Anytime you see Joe Hendry in an NXT ring, he always brings the momentum, and that momentum ends up going to TNA. But he went toe-to-toe with All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT title, with Trick Williams as the guest referee. I don't even know how to say it, except the fact that Trick Williams actually made good on his word. He called it down the center, and just he he literally called it down the center and counted everything that took place in that ring. Even when Joe Hendry hit that standing ovation choke slam onto Ethan Page, Page's leg, his foot was under the bottom rope, and he counted that and stopped the count, which was incredibly crazy. I never would have thought Trick Williams would have been a man of his word, but funny enough, he was. He did become a man of his word, and I will admit it. I will be one to admit, I thought he was going to play favorites and screw Ethan Page out of the NXT title, but funny enough, he didn't. He actually did not at all. He didn't. No, he didn't. But obviously Trick Williams did get bumped into by Joe Hendry at the hands of Ethan Page. Another referee came in, and yeah, it was just crazy. It was crazy. The title, the NXT title came into play, and as Joe Hendry was about to pick it up from the ring, boom, DDT, and then Trick Williams stopped the count, and then Ethan Page hit the second referee. Trick's back was turned, low blow to Joe Hendry, Ego's Edge, 1, 2, 3. Trick Williams not only counted the 3, but rose the hand of Ethan Page. And now we know that on the debut premiere of NXT on the CW, it will be Trick Williams challenging Ethan Page for said NXT title. But it was after the match that made things a bit interesting, as we saw Trick Williams get hit with the bitter end by Pete Dunne. So this obviously proves that Pete Dunne wants the NXT title, as does Trick. But in order for Trick Williams to get closer to Ethan Page, he has to get past the bruiserweight. And all in all, though, I think the match absolutely solid. I think Ethan Page retaining the title, a lot of people might believe that it was a bad judgment call on Creative's part, but I think it was a smart idea. And the reason why I say that is because this gave Joe Hendry a sort of like a learning lesson, I guess, if you will, that even though you had been wrestling around the world for about a decade or so, you still have a lot to learn about NXT. And obviously, yes, he did say that he would stick around in NXT for a little bit longer. I don't know if he'll go back to TNA and go on to become their world champion. I don't know what the hell Joe Hendry's got planned, but I have to say, after tonight, I believe in Joe Hendry. But all in all, 4 stars. I think this was pretty solid. I would have given it 5 if it wasn't for the chaos involving the second referee and all that. But still, 4 stars. All in all, the card itself was absolutely insane. Not much else to say about it. I will give it 4 stars, hands down. But obviously, now that Bash in Berlin and No Mercy are now in the record books and in the rearview mirror, we now move our attention to not only Bad Blood, but Halloween Havoc, and they are going to be some crazy PLEs, you guys. So get ready for those. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more PLE predictions and results in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all my social media. All my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be down in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.